Good morning, welcome back. It is I, Dr. Bosskey. Thanks everybody for checking out the channel and encouraging the tutorial videos and having such a good time playing the Dr. Bosskey Shoot 'em Up. We're having some amazing, fantastic passion project times, and it's been a delight to share it with everyone. The SHMUP Creator devs released a new gameplay function, and that gameplay function is called the button trigger. With the button trigger, I thought, what could we do to play around with it? Because I hadn't used it yet. It was originally designed to give you the ability to essentially skip cutscenes or to skip parts of cutscene logic. So then you could like in levels quickly and do things like that, which is great. Awesome. That's super cool stuff. What I thought though, what would be fun is using the button trigger logic to basically create a version of player interactive discovery. So we are with the overworld for us. And if I hold down the button, any of the buttons, it basically allows us to give you the ability to give players text to understand what's going on with the buttons they're pressing. So if I tap the button, it comes up quickly and maybe a little too fast, but if you press and hold, it stays up longer because the logic itself stops when you take your finger off the button and starts when you hold the button. You can always tweak these things. So how did we do this? So basically, let's go in here so we look a little closer. We have one trigger. And this trigger, technically it could be the size of the world, totally fine. This is just me pulling things together. And as the players inside this trigger volume, they then have the ability to activate this trigger logic. Coming back here, because we're in the runtime. Oh, there we go. There we go. And we have this large trigger. The trigger here is player goes into the zone. You make it any size you want. Then this trigger itself, since I moved it now, connects to each of these pieces. I'm going to move this. It's a little bit more organized. All right. And so the next thing that we have here is we have the new button property. We have it switch mode, so the trigger can be switched on and off several times. You do it as a one shot, but the thing is that good design generally allows players that are exploring things to re-explore those things unless they're finite. So basically what that means is that if we only set it up for one shot and a player who isn't reading the text that comes from pressing the button, they would want to see that again and they would get frustrated if they couldn't see that again. So button logic there that goes into that. And then here is just the text object that we use. We put it in switch mode, so then that also supports being able to be turned on and off. I set the duration to just 1.5 seconds in this case. We use text, and here's our text here. And then a little bit of color we gave to the text, so it's a little bit of an easier color to look at against these. Basically, here we have these clouds, and it's a little bit brighter background. So I want to make sure you could actually see it with a color on top. That works fairly okay on top of other colors. Here, with the player in the zone logic, so then we just basically replicate each of the buttons. Here are the button inputs where each of the buttons mapped. Eventually we're getting new buttons mapped to the ability to press more buttons on a controller. Works with a keyboard as well. And then maybe just for people that are watching for the first time, if you go into preferences, you go into the controls option here. So you have the ability to set all your controls. So when people are trying to discover keyboard inputs, you can map these. So both the buttons on the controller and then the buttons for the keyboard itself or vice versa. Okay, I think that's it. One more thing I want to test while we're here, because I haven't checked this yet, is what is it like when you go from inside and outside of the trigger? Oh, that's cool. That's silky smooth. So if you're holding the button down and you go into the volume, it automatically starts. Super smart. Oh, look at this. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Huh. So now I'm outside of the trigger volume, and I can still press all of the buttons. Okay, that's interesting. So let's take a look at that. So player goes into the zone, yeah. Oh, that's because I set it to stays active. Let's try switch mode. Okay, in the zone we go, so that starts. Coming out of the zone. Oh, interesting. Huh, okay. So that's switch mode, player goes into the zone. Okay, all right, that's interesting. I think I will, since we're doing the tutorial anyways, I'll give that feedback to Sunny to see if that's by design, because I think what you'd really want, just turn this on in editor, is you want the ability to, while you're in the triggers, the volumes, the trigger volume, you want the ability to have the buttons work, so we can see the buttons working here, and then when you're outside, then they shouldn't be getting inputs any longer. Okay, that's good. That's why we test these things. That's awesome. That's gonna be super helpful. Okay, with that's a little tutorial for at least how you could set up or use button logic. I think the cool thing about this functionality, this gameplay feature, is that we actually could do quite a few different things, right? Like you could spawn an enemy on a button. You could spawn sprites, of course. There's quite a few things you might be able to do that would be also fun. Like I've been playing around with the idea of maybe doing a cutscene QuickTime events where you prompt the button, the player presses it, and now granted, it won't work with this bug here yet, but they press the button within your time window or something like that. And then maybe you could spawn elements that you wouldn't be able to spawn otherwise. Anyways, the cool thing about having functions and features like this is you just play with them. And as you play and explore and experiment, sometimes you find little hidden gems of how the functionality will excite your own designs, right? So when you find something cool by putting pieces together, then you might be able to build some gameplay or some experiences around it. And that's what's going to make, at the end of the day, your shmup uniquely yours. Yes, we can all do the same things, and it's cool to be inspired, super cool to have a nice tool set like this, but how you express yourself is uniquely yours, and these are just tools to help you do that. Okay, that's it. Let's wrap this up. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you so much for watching.